Hi, welcome Lights Out family to episode 4 of the Out There podcast. With me today is our usual Sonia. Now a bit blurry. And also a familiar face, the apex predator from the Lights Out podcast,
Yes.
Joe Dakota.
Thank you for not calling me the Apex Predator. Apex Predator is definitely the more accurate description of me.
So today we will talk mainly on our experience from the Bali trip organized by the Lights Out crew. If you have seen my vlog, you have roughly see what was happening during the 6 day span at Bali itself. We have 4 night walks, and each one is a very different kind of experiences, so that we hope we can share with you guys. So before we start, I'd like to thank some of the comments provided by our viewers from the previous episode. We have Frankie that can be arranged 3874. He said that he is glad he came to the podcast.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Then we have this Tan NG9CE. It's Ace. Yeah, maybe no. He was mentioning about my narration about the tunnel at Belgium. He said maybe no lights above ground because doesn't want to be seen from the nearby road. But why no lights allowed in a tunnel? So I replied him it was like the club thing. Like even in university when we want to prank the juniors, we usually tekan them lah. So no lights, you come in.
So a bit like hazing.
Yes, like hazing. Yeah, exactly. So that's how the people in Belgium are doing the same. And also from my vlog, there's I think this person called Marvel Newbie. He mentioned that he loves seeing Sonia always been the one in front, a true trailblazer and challenger of the unknown.
I got a smile on
Yeah,
her
we'll
face.
talk about that later also. Okay, without
I like,
further ado.
I like to consider myself a bit of a trailblazer as well. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, without further ado, we will go to the first destination we went on the first day itself. This you guys remember what is the Pasar called again? Because I don't have the
Pasar
name.
Seni Manggis.
Wow. Okay, I
Excuse me?
definitely don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't. I just remember it's like Tony just stopped halfway through, and I got a surprise for you, and then we end up in this place. Oh Jesus!
Oh, because okay, during the daytime when you guys are knocked out in the car,
yeah.
I think myself did saw the Pasar. He already
Oh,
told
you guys
because
did
I
see
was,
it earlier on, did you?
yes, he really mentioned to us this. He told us a story. There's like even daytime because I actually saw where the graveyard is. Man, it's scary. Okay,
Is it opposite the road? I heard.
It's just
Yes,
it's on the other
opposite
side.
road. Okay,
Right.
this short little video is taken by me.
Oh, memories.
Look at that beautiful hill.
But I believe this tentage, or do we call this tentage? These structures are where they sell their groceries and whatever lah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where they would have had it's like an open marketplace.
Oh, but this particular place gives me the chills.
That area
Yes,
was a bit strange. Yeah.
Yeah, when Joe went in, you can see I shoot over here to the very end, but I don't dare to go in further to the darkness,
Yeah.
to the abyss. Okay. So
I
the first.
don't know. Okay. Can you remember the history of the market?
It was stated that some developer actually wanted to create it's a day pasar. So that means it's a morning kind of market to sell, I don't know sell what lah, maybe grocery, maybe some other things like clothing or whatever.
Yeah.
But they
It
didn't
was-
check the
It was actually it was built to service tourists from a nearby port. So Yes. So yes, it is.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a pasar, but it's meant to be like a public shopping area to service
Sure.
tourists from a nearby port. So like busloads of tourists were supposed to have come,
Ah,
but
okay.
very, very ill-fated. It never took off. It never
Oh,
took
yes, I
off.
remember now.
So
And every time they tried to do something, there would be stories that come out from the attempts. Like even a carnival on grounds never was successful, and it is attributed to the ill fate of that location because across the road is a
graveyard.
cemetery. Yeah.
What I heard is that when they try to sell things, they like kacau by the unseen forces lah.
The stories that come out of that place are interesting because both buyer and seller have relayed stories where they receive leaves as change or as
I
payment.
remember
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
goodness,
Yeah,
this is
the
a
way you were saying
classic.
that, where people who the sellers, when they sold stuff, right? The customers would pay them in like leaves, and didn't Tony
Or
said something like they said like that's actually the like the inhabitants of the graveyard that have actually come there. So it's become almost like a spiritual market where spirits come and buy their ota ota, buy their kropo, buy their yakult. That's the place that spirits go. Fuck that. No.
Okay, the paying by leaves is exactly the same kind of story from Taiwan, from China, where cab drivers drove some
Yeah.
suspicious clients to some suspicious place, usually cemetery. Then they got paid. Usually, when the daytime come, the currency become leaves or joss
Yeah.
papers.
Singapore as well,
that's
right?
the yes, that's
Yeah,
the
Singapore
preferred
as well.
currency.
Oh my goodness,
And
never no
worldwide, right? The
inflation.
the whole haunted hitchhiker. The
Mm.
haunted hitchhiker story is like worldwide. It's only I think that in Asian countries where the hell money, the joss paper, the leaves is the currency that people get paid in. I don't like that at all.
Either that or Zimbabwean money. Okay,
That's right.
this is from me. I shared this in my vlog.
Okay.
So you can see shadows when the light shine through. Do you think it is vegetation? People will claim it's vegetation. Sonia,
Where was I when that was shot?
you went up already.
Well, I was gone.
You're
I think
missing
you
basically.
Which
when
is
you when
so.
you
Well, there's always two sides to that, right? One being the way we use our flashlight,
mm,
what casts shadow. It could be vegetation, but in a place like that where all of us are feeling vibes and knowing the history of the place, who's to say it can't be something else?
Joe, what's your
I
impression?
tend I tend to agree with Sonia. You know, if you were completely skeptical, you would just completely like throw it out of the water and say that's just the light casting shadows upon the wall
Mm,
via the trees and shrubbery.
Yes.
However, I think the only way that you can really tell is if you actually went back there, stood in the same spot, and did an experiment where you shine the lights and see if you can replicate it, right? But I think we all wanted to get out of there as soon as possible because Tony was like, "Yeah, it's time to go." So,
mm.
but it's very
All of
odd.
us?
We had to come and freaking get you. That is the problem. It's like Sonia. Sonia's like at the other end. All we can see in the distance is a bit of light shining. We've got Sonia's going to get kidnapped by monkeys. We don't know what was happening with Sonia,
Yeah,
right?
we only
Yeah,
saw a torch,
yeah,
a light beaming through. That's the only indication where Sonia is because the shrubs is way taller than Sonia
yeah,
is.
yeah. And
Yeah.
people, I don't think people realize, right? I don't think people realize how deserted and overgrown this area was. Some places you just couldn't get through unless you actually went through the bush. There was
In
just
my
kind of
sandals.
nowhere. in your
Yeah,
in your
we were
sandals
unprepared for
after
the.
telling us that Bali has poisonous snakes. Well done, Sonia. But okay,
Yeah,
look,
I mean,
to be
yeah.
honest, is there a way that you can maybe play that video again?
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to see if we can have another look and see whether the torchlight actually the path of the torchlight actually kind of coincides with
With the shrubs,
the
with the tall
shadows.
shrubs.
Yeah. To be really honest with you, KK, here's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only way those shadows could move like that is if the light was coming from the
The other
right.
way. Yes.
Yeah? Am I right?
Yes.
If
Yes.
from right to left, that's how, or maybe from left to right.
Left to right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I
Left to
was
right, because
from
then,
there to
because it's
there.
like that, right? That's how the light's shown. So yeah, potentially. But then again, who knows? I think maybe some YouTuber or someone on the internet needs to kind of really slow that frame by frame and have a look to see whether that actually
But
does
it's
that.
just
But
shadow
it's
lah.
interesting. It could be. Look, I would probably say it's a shadow, but
Mm.
hey, Sonia said right, in a place like that could warrant more
But
investigation.
we did walk towards that building, so
Oh
okay.
man,
Beside me, our friend Shimin also shot something. It's very interesting. So the same building, but
yeah,
it's from another direction. So this our driver Adi. He was standing below this structure. Then you can see there's a shadow, like a head with long hair. Don't you feel? Don't you feel? Don't you guys feel that way?
yeah. That
I
it's a very odd looking picture.
yes. I would prefer to be on the ground
Hmm.
when images like that are being shot so that, it's clear, it's definite what we can or cannot see.
Yeah, but usually, whatever we shot in video or in photographs don't really reflect what we have seen on the ground.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And that's because of the way that the aperture, the shutter speed, and the kind of the way that the camera works, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
given that it's at night, given that it's used with a phone, and also considering that very likely there's a lot of movement, I would tend to probably say that that's got to do with a kind of photography artifact that happens as people move. So
Yeah.
the shutter speed goes. The shutter opens for longer to let more light in. That's why you can actually see stuff. And sometimes just a little bit of movement can create that kind of. It can create shadows. It can create fake phantoms. That is what I would say. That could.
I mean,
Yeah,
when
that's what I would say.
it looks like those kind of palm tree, like a palm tree kind of, but then at that location there's no palm tree.
No, there isn't. No, there isn't.
Yeah, and then it was hanging off this beam. It's not a.
Can we
It's
see
not
that?
a
Can we
tree.
see that photo again? Because that'd
Yeah,
be
let's
interesting.
let's have a closer look.
Can. Yeah.
And if you can pause it at that moment, so we can have a photo from
So
the
this is the
shooting.
actual photo.
Yeah.
The bottom right is where Adi is standing. He's below this beam. Okay, let me pause here. Okay, he's below this beam. I can't. I think the beam is part of
Ooh.
the tentage.
Yeah, it looks
Then,
it looks like a flowy figure almost that's just behind him.
yeah. So, and which point do you think that the shadow can come from? Is that's weird lah. That's the thing. We
It
don't.
does not, now that I look at it closely, it doesn't even look like a shadow now.
Oh,
It looks like a figure. And you can see where there are shoulders almost
yeah.
and a bit of a head.
My
Ah,
goodness. Okay.
I'm thinking what we're
Goosebumps.
seeing. I'm thinking what we're seeing is is the dark as darkened alcove,
Dark what?
but
a
it's
darkened
the
alcove.
alcove, like the empty space that's
Yeah,
behind. However, if you look at the rest of the empty space, why would some of the empty space be completely lit and only that one be in darkness?
It could be because maybe the flashlight is shining in that direction, and that's why that's a little bit more kind of open. Whereas where he is could be a little bit. I don't know.
But if you say that the whatever light is shining, causing a lot of distortion, Adi Adi's silhouette is very clear. There's no
It is.
distortion from
There's no
him.
distortion. But if you
The
have a look at
beam
the
is
lights,
very
right?
clear.
If you have
Yes.
the light is coming from the left, which means that what is behind and to the right is actually in shadow. If you
Oh.
can
Was
see,
this
if you
this
can
building?
see
Let
that
me
beam,
let me
right?
get. Yeah,
Yep,
I see what you mean with that beam, but
yep.
I just want to get this right. Where how many rooms were there in this building? Three
Three.
separate rooms. Am I right?
Yep, yep,
Yes.
So you have room number one on the extreme left, which is in a
yeah.
little bit of darkness.
It's in
Then you
shadow.
have
Yep,
then you have room two with somebody and a light,
Mm.
right? And then you have room three,
three.
which is where Adi is in the foreground and that's in the background.
Yep,
There's a big distance between him and the building, you know.
Yes. So
yeah.
for
Yeah.
him to cast, that have to be light cast on him, and that he blocks the light. Therefore, absence of light behind him. So that
Mm.
cannot be his shadow because there's no light
No, no.
on
Yeah,
him.
I don't think that's his shadow. I don't think
Yeah,
that's his
but
shadow.
I hear what you're saying about
Yeah.
that being the empty space of that third room
Yes.
or that
Yeah.
alcove at the back. But how do we then explain how bright the first one is, and then the second one of obviously lit with somebody, and then the third one being that dark, and to have that kind of a humanoid shape.
Because for me it's further away. As you can already see, even closer to the light, the other one is already half in shadow. It's already half in shadow. And then
Oh
if
my
you have a look
goodness.
at the edge of the circle to the left, you can see that there's a long there's a beam on the other side, which is the beam of the building, and behind that beam, you can already see that's already also in
Ah.
shadow. So yeah, so
Yes.
what it tells me is that dark part is just a continuation of a very darkened corridor. And I think Adi's light is shining there, but it
Uh,
doesn't quite reach. The light that you're seeing cast upon that is coming from further to the left. So
You know what is scarier, Joe?
the snakes. What?
What is scarier is that I'm willing to believe that's something and you are completely trying to debunk it. That's scary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is this yeah. I oscillate. So my belief, right, is that I will always consider a natural explanation first, because I believe that once you eliminate that and you don't have any more explanations, what you've got left is infinitely more compelling than you would
Yes.
if someone just went, "Oh, I just saw a ball of light, therefore it's a ghost." For me, I want to consider. I want to know: is it a torchlight? Is it light from this? Is it the shadow?
Is
And
it
if
a
I can
gas?
eliminate,
Is it a gas ball? You know? Yeah,
yes, is it ball
I
lightning? Yeah,
yes. I hear you. I mean,
yeah.
I'm supposed to be super rational here, remember?
I'm super skeptical.
yeah. No,
I
but
take it the other way.
yeah, because the point that as I mentioned to Joe just now, when we reached, it was from it's becoming dusk to really sunset.
Yeah,
It become totally black, darkness. Then we are shining lights all over. We are taking videos. We're taking photos all over. So I would kind of support what Joe has said that it could be due to you know our light shining, causing a lot of shadow
yeah.
artifacts.
Yeah, I mean, it could be so many things, right? That's why we dissect it so we can talk about the different possibilities.
All right.
And I think people need to understand that when we're there as part of the tour, it's part of an experience. So we're not there to investigate per se. We're not
Yes.
paranormal
Yes.
investigators going there to try to find evidence of the paranormal. We're just there to experience what is this like? Can we feel anything? What are the stories associated with it? And you know what's more paranormal? Sonia's feed appears to have disappeared on my screen.
Yes.
Hang on now.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to get back into my laptop so that I can use uh, the video function on that. So
Yeah.
so yes, it's also very scary how much technology problems I face.
Yeah. And this is a running joke. That means because she's a place in Sembawang. So Sembawang is well known for. I'm living in Yishun is bad enough. People are making jokes all over. But
You
Sembawang,
know what?
that's another.
For someone like myself, right? When I hear Singaporeans talk about, oh, Sembawang's so far out, and I live in a state that is the biggest state in West in Australia, right? Where you probably can't drive from the end to the tip in a single day. Like people go, oh yeah, it go from I live in Yishun and Yishun's so far away. Oh yeah, Sembawang's so far away. It's like, man, like we can drive for days and still stay in our same state. Oh, here
And
she comes back.
coming
There I
back from
am.
Bali, I really appreciate our traffic.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure. I'm happy.
I'm not going to complain about our traffic here. Okay.
The traffic was the worst. Yeah.
This last video from this particular place is from Sonia. So, as we mentioned, she ventured on to the top of this pasar, and we haven't seen this place until this video itself. Looks quite clean, the floor. Oh, that's
Looks
all.
very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
any
it wasn't a very long video. Now some of the we were all having some issues with our electronics. I don't know if you remember, but some of our torches were not working so well in this place.
yes. So
Yes, and this was at the very top of the hill. And how the pasar is designed, it was
on
on
the hill.
several steps of a hill, right? You have level one, then it goes up, and then it goes up to level three, which is where I
Yes.
went. Yeah.
It's almost like terraces, right? Yeah.
Yes. I was not afraid of venomous snakes. I mean, snakes are usually a bit more afraid of us. And when you approach, they can feel you. They can't hear because they don't have ears, but they can definitely feel your footsteps. And there's a lot of vibration as you go forth, and that is enough to scare the snakes away. So I wasn't afraid of the snakes, but I wanted to see. And I also heard that further up on the terraces, that there is an abandoned house at the very back. So I went looking for that house. I came across a derelict wall, and that must have been the perimeter wall of the house, but I didn't go any further because I knew I had a certain amount of time and I was alone. So not the most ideal of situations. And I was wearing sandals, not even my sports sandals, but my nice sandals. So before I got a scolding and before you all launch a rescue mission for me, I made my way down.
Maybe we can tell the audience why you were nicely dressed, because we went for a wedding. This was like an impromptu kind of along the way, you know.
Yes, but
So
what was very interesting about the wedding, it's Bali Aga, or the original Balinese, the people of Bali, are very protective of their culture and their heritage, and they still live in a traditional village, a walled village, which the villagers themselves patrol. They patrol the perimeter of their village. And the reason that we were brought there, and this was in Teganan,
Anand.
is they have a 150-year-old village temple on site. And we went to see that and feel that giant ficus tree, the one with the aerial roots in the middle of those temple grounds. Did you not feel?
Tony reckoned it was older than 150 years.
Yeah. So
Very
he said the temple grounds may be older, but the temple building is about 150 years. But the vibes of that place.
It was very, very odd.
The vibe before the temple was even scarier. Remember, they actually barbed wired the place and asked people to
Yeah. On
not throw
the
things.
as we made our way through the cultural village, and this was after we got a chance to witness the wedding of the Bali Aga people. On the left, as we were walking up, he said that there is some dark energy coming off that patch of forest, the one that was on the left. And he said the locals use that to throw their trash, but there is a reason they don't go down there. However, I found a path that led down.
Yeah. Thank you for not going down that path, Sonia. I don't have to come and find for you.
So this is.
I did a little bit. I just walked a little bit, just to feel the vibes of it. And if only I had worn proper sandals, I would have gone down.
Thank God
We
you
were
wore
not
proper sandals.
scheduled for all this thing.
Yeah, we're not
But
scheduled, Sonia.
that's part of exploration, and that's part of the adventure, isn't
Yeah.
it? Everybody
Definitely.
everybody was safe with you guys,
I don't like camping. I like glamping.
Ah.
Is that the whole idea, right? You wanna be able to go ooh, and then go and have a nice shower, like in a beautiful kind of like a tent with hot water bottles and beautiful soaps. That's my idea.
I'll get you a room at Hotel Nikki.
Which we will definitely
That's
have
the
to
main
talk about
event.
a little bit later. But KK, you said that this is the last video. There's another video that I may have sent you with the lights.
Ah, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's
Let
all right.
me- Yeah.
Because I think, okay, so this is a slowed down version. You'll be able to see you can see that light that just flashed there, potentially be
Yeah.
an insect. Another
Like-
light there, potentially insect. But that area there, notice how that light suddenly goes off.
Let's do it again.
Okay. So you'll see insects flying past, one there. There's a light there. People could argue that's an insect. Another one could argue that's an insect. But that thing there is stationary, attached, and then it just goes off. I'm interested to hear what
There are
you guys
two lights we actually see, right?
Yeah, you see the first flash, right? And then you
The-
see another flash. And then you see, so if you like to play it again, KK, I'll tell you when to pause.
Okay.
So you'll play it this way, right? Okay, you see that. You see that light, that's fine. And that's another light, one light. And then you see another light there, yeah. Pause.
Hang on. I can't. Hang on.
That's okay,
Because-
that's all right. You should be able to see by the right hand side and the edge that there is a little bit of that area there. I have no idea what that is. There's nothing there that reflects stuff. There's nothing there that reflects stuff at all. And
Yes,
that is moving. It's stationary with the movement of the camera. So what that tells me, it's something fixed.
The two lights, the one brighter is at the behind. Then there's a one in the foreground that is like a bit yellowish, and it went off, right?
Yeah, there it goes off again. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the one that I kind of don't have an explanation for. I don't know what that is.
That's the building. That's the building that we had featured earlier with Adi, right? With Adi standing in front. That's the building in the back.
Yeah.
I think it's that one, yeah.
That's the one. En route to that
Yeah.
three, what do you call it? 3 rooms. Yeah.
And coincidentally, that is in the same vicinity of the room that you guys are saying there's a shadow there. Coincidentally.
Ah, yeah. Oh,
Because it's towards the right hand side of that structure.
There, we're back in action. I had to shut down WhatsApp and reload it in order to get onto this. Oh my gosh!
You can
Do you mean
copy
to do the whole
link and send
clappy
it to
thing
your
again?
email.
no,
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 it's-
we are
it's,
in. But the light you were mentioning from
Yeah. So
it looks from far away, right, Joe?
It's on the building. It's near the building itself, so I have no idea what it is. If you notice
The
that
creepy,
we talk-
the one that gives me the creeps is the ending yellow light.
yeah, that
The one
last
that's the one.
light.
That's the one I'm talking about.
That's the one.
What the hell is that? I have no idea
And
what that is.
It's a fixed light. In other words, it's not
Yeah.
cast from
And it just
somewhere and stuff.
goes like
It's
that.
a light source.
Yeah. You could say, right, with the other flashes of light that you saw, that is the light of my torch hitting off an insect's body, and the camera is interpreting that as a bit flash of light, and that's understandable. I've seen those lights before as insects, but the ending part where it appears fixed on the building, and not only that, just brings out of existence like that. That's a little bit odd to me. That one I potentially don't have an explanation for.
Do you recall? Were you way in front? None of us was at the building.
No. I was the only one in front.
One explanation.
I was the only one there. Nope.
The one explanation could be if one of us is at that particular building, we might have switched off our torchlight.
Yeah, that's a potential. But no, I was only because I think I filmed that when I was walking towards that with Tony.
Okay.
And Tony was the one that says, "Go over there. There's stuff over there," and that's why.
To be truthful, it doesn't look like insect.
No. The first
insect,
two
you have a trail.
Yeah, you saw the lights that were flashing before in the beginning. That's, I would say, that's an insect. But that light in the background, I have no idea what that is. And you know what's the scary thing about that, KK Heng? And that's something we'll probably talk about a little bit later, and also on the Lights Out podcast. That's not the most paranormal thing that has happened to me or to us in this trip. That's the scariest.
Stay tuned to the Lights Out main podcast for this story. Okay, let's move forward to the next destination. That would be
our hotel.
Can you say the name? I don't want to say the name. It's a neglected resort in Nagara. So I just include the creep. I won't say creepiest, but the place with the heaviest kind of
this
view.
area.
Where we did the sit down after the whole thing.
Yeah.
This area
kind
gives
of like
me
group isolation.
Yeah, the group isolation. When we reach, I can feel the temperature drop.
In that area. You know what the scariest thing was for me when that video was being shot? I desperately needed to go to the toilet, and I realized that where we were is the most abandoned place. I was praying. I said, "God, please. I know I've done a lot of bad things in my life, but I've also done some good things, right? Please let there be a toilet." I found one, but the toilet had no toilet seat, so I had to hover. I'm just saying, I had to hover. And the structure in which I had to go to the toilet there was a Pandita's hut. And the Pandita, from what I understand when we were asking Tony, is like a spiritual elder in Balinese culture. You have the Pemangku, which are the priests. You have the Balians, which are like the intermediary between the priests and the people. The Balians are like they kind of walk in both worlds. The traditional Pemangku priest world, but also the other world, right? So they kind of straddle both. They're like the shaman. And then you have a Pandita, which is almost like above them. They're like the teachers or spiritual elder for a lot of Balinese people. And the structure that we were walking into was a structure, it was a home for one of these Panditas of that Nagara area.
It was a spiritual center.
Yeah. And I desecrated it.
You left your mark.
Yeah.
My middle name's Mark, so I did leave Mark. Mark. Oh, it was so scary.
Maybe that's why we were mentioning about that particular place we did the group meditation. Maybe later you can share what you have experienced during a group meditation. But for me personally, the scariest part is the route, the car route towards this resort. Like, I mean, I mentioned to whoever on the trip, when I did my BMT at Pulau Tekong, the road at Pulau Tekong is much, much better than whatever that car ride is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, the car ride was in darkness. right? And it was a narrow, bumpy road, and you have that feeling that something could just jump out from the sides. I
And my
found that
back
quite.
was already hurting, and our vehicle didn't have very good kind of suspension, right? So at first it was like a normal road, and then it got smaller, and then it got narrower, right? And then eventually there was no more road. There was just like a dirt path, virtually, right? It was a dirt path. It wasn't a road, and it was like two
There's
kilometers in.
sorry,
It was like 2 kilometers, two
looks like
km.
Into
eternity.
that, yeah.
Very long,
Yeah, it was a
very long.
very
And
long ride.
this is after we come from our hotel.
The
And
big
Yeah.
hotel.
our hotel already prepped us a little bit, I fancy. It set the tone for where we were about to go.
It's like the
So
hotel
it
in an
was
old Malay kampong. It just felt like that's where the Pontianak stayed. Like
Yeah,
you wake up and wake up and you go outside and there'll be someone sitting on a table with long
yeah.
black hair in a white dress, just singing like a tune, and then you just go no, and you just go right back in. That is the feeling of
nope.
that hotel, right?
And if you didn't have diarrhea before the breakfast, the next morning caused you to have extreme diarrhea.
I think that's what happened. It was I didn't like that at all. And you know what, to be honest, like, and I joked a lot about that, but my I think my belly sickness started on that night that we went to. I think it was probably, yeah, that's probably why I had to go to the toilet so often.
Yeah, it's a
I
punishment.
As a punishment for
Yeah, it's a
bringing
punishment.
KK and Shimin, everyone, to like weird places. Yeah, but it was
But
again very odd. The area there that we were in Nagara was very, very odd.
for viewers who have seen the vlog, we actually explored. I only showed the main area which I feel the heaviest air. I don't feel creepy. I feel the air is heavy. But when you want to go into the living quarters where there's a pool and there's like a temple, then we also walk towards the other. Okay, maybe I'll show you the video that Sonia shared to me. She took it at the guest rooms where Joe also desecrated.
I look, it was twice. This is
It was
after the
just
first
going
time.
all over
It
the
had a good,
place.
it had a good toilet. That toilet in there was
This
good.
is good. This
There
guest
was there was toilet paper there as well, even though I brought my own. It was I liked it. It was a very good release
so over is at the other end of the resort. I don't feel
at the
anything
other end.
here at this
No,
guest room. It's completely clean, nothing, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
What
Very
again
what
it just
what
like a
I
guest
want
room.
to yeah, but what I want to talk about is when Tony was relaying how he'd been there before and he'd
mm,
made a room booking, and as he drove up, the place was in complete darkness, and obviously they can't stay there if nobody's tending to the place. They had to turn around and leave. But as they
mm.
were leaving, there was a thump on the car. And upon inspection later, they found that there was a
Pump
handprint
A
handprint, yeah.
smeared handprint. Yeah,
on, was it the side or the back of the car?
it was the back side of the car, from my understanding.
And
So it
with
was like a
So,
smear. Oof.
the lighting of the place, it's
What
complete
lighting?
darkness.
Yeah,
He
what lighting?
virtually cannot see what was hitting him. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what people didn't know, right? Like Tony went there with his students. When we went there for the tour this time, not only was Tony there, there were five other pamangkus or five other priests
yes.
there with us. And what Tony told us was that one of them was a practitioner of the dark arts. And he said that one of them was trying to test him that night and trying to test his power towards Tony. Tony obviously didn't have anything to do with it. He's not that kind of person. But it was a surprise for us because we were only meant to go there with Tony, and then suddenly we went there and picked up five priests. They were doing their rituals, they're doing everything, and there was even like a camera crew for an Indonesian, like a like an
TikTok.
Paranormal
Indonesian,
YouTube
Was it a
yeah,
YouTube channel?
YouTube channel.
yeah, and there was a bit of an interview, so maybe a little bit later on we'll post a link to that, and then people can kind of maybe go and listen to what I had to say.
So let's go to the end of our time spent at this neglected resort. We did the group isolation at
Sure
that
did.
place where we have the statue of the Ganesha and the main Ganesha. Is that a statue also?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was one
So we
in
were
the
sitting
beginning
there.
and then one
Uh,
against the wall.
so Joe experienced something which was been verified by one of the pemangku. Maybe Joe, you can tell us what do you see?
Okay, so this was flashbacks to our first Bali experience that Sonia, myself, Kim, Shez, and Elvin kind of went to, a few years back. The video's coming, guys. It will eventually. It will eventually be done. I promise you. I promise you. However, as part of that interview with that group, they asked me like, "What do you want to do next?" And I'm going like, "Why don't we go towards that area where the Ganesh statue was, the Ganesha statue was, and let's maybe sit down there, turn on the lights off, take our phones, turn on the recorders, and see what happens." It's a bit of an experiment, right? Little did I know that it was going to turn out to be something a little bit strange for me. So we'd all gone there. The guy was there, set up the cameras, was filming. We're all sitting there in darkness, right? So I was sitting here. I think KK and all that were behind me. Sonia as well. And now to my left, the Pamankus and Tony, all dressed in white, a little bit creepy, sat in a row. They were meditating. Incense flying everywhere. Mosquitoes landing on my head, biting me. It wasn't a comfortable experience for me. And this is when my ADHD flared up. I was sitting there. To be really honest with you, at first it was a little bit interesting. And then together with my back, my tummy, and the mosquitoes, I was just getting bored and more bored as the night was going on. I think we sat there for like 15, 20 minutes.
Around there.
After 5 minutes, my mind was like, oh, not again. I find myself in the middle of a freaking jungle, in the middle of nowhere, getting bitten by insects. Why do I do this to myself? I need to go and take a dump. This is all that's going through my mind, right? So I'm sitting there, and suddenly this image pops into my head. You know how like when you're sitting down and you like daydream? And like, you're just thinking about this, oh yeah, I wish I had an ice cream. It's stuff like that. There was an image in my mind of an old woman, bent back, with a stick, long scraggly hair, all the way to her knees, walking in the forest next to me. You know, there was the forest to the left-hand side. There was all jungle there. So my mind was going like, why am I having this, like, imagine, why am I not dreaming of Jennifer Lawrence or Scarlett Johansson? like, why am I thinking of an old woman? That's not my fetish. That's not what I like. So again, I'm going, oh, what a weird place to be in. So I stood up after, I think about 15 minutes. I couldn't handle it anymore. I went to the side, and there were trees on the side as well, followed by a drop into a river, and there were a few people fishing there. So there were light shining at the bottom. I looked at the trees, and no joke, right? Do you know? Okay, so first off, I don't believe in orbs. I think they're video artifacts. I think they're artifacts as a result of the camera and the computer and the camera, right? Creating these orbs. You see that orbs in videos and in pictures, and usually people go, "Oh, look at the orbs." My naked eye, I saw on the trees an orb around this side. Three of them just go whizzing past in the trees, almost like someone with a very weak torchlight was just shining it there. And I'm going, oh wow, those guys are using very, good torches from all the way to the bottom and sitting up. And then I realized, hang on a second, that can't happen as well, because if they shine the light from the bottom, it should hit somewhere to my left. There are trees to my right. If I'm seeing light going across the trees to my right, it has to come from my left. And I turned there. Tony's meditating there. Incense are going everywhere. Everyone is still quiet. And I'm looking back, and I still see these faint lights go across the trees. And I'm going, what am I seeing? They're not lights from bottom, because I can still see the lights at the bottom. And they're not even corresponding. So I think I told someone, I just, again, there's freaking lights. What is it with me in Bali and lights? I just see lights. What is that? No one could explain that. So I go on, all right, this is weird. I think it's time for us to go. It's getting late. I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes, and I need to go to the toilet again. So let's just go.
No,
Everyone
but
stood up.
your experience with the light is verified with by Shimin. She saw it too.
Shimin saw it too, right? Yeah, that's
Yes.
correct. She saw that on there. So again, I'm not hallucinating, right? So again, first thought is going, it's light from below. My second thought could be, I could be seeing things. I could be mistaken. Shimin saw it. No one had lights on. So everyone stood up. That session was done. And the Pamankus, right? The priest and Tony, they all had like their secret meetings. They were talking like in Balinese. I'm a busybody. I love gossip. And I love listening to what people are talking about. So I crept down. Like, I was like listening, going, like, oh, I wonder what they're saying. And I heard the female priest talking. Oh gosh, she seems to be talking about like seeing something. I said,
Mm.
oh, I want to listen. And she said something about seeing a woman
Old lady.
with a stick, an old lady walking up and down. And I went, oh my God, that is exactly what popped into my head. Now she speaks no English. I speak Bahasa, Melayu. She was speaking in Balinese, but I had not I had seen this in my mind even before she was talking about, and here she was talking about, and I says, excuse me, you see this woman? I saw it in my mind's eye. She had a stick, and then she said long hair, and they corroborated that this was a guardian of the area that had noted that we had come, but was very embarrassed or maybe like hesitant to come and show herself to us. And she was just walking up and down in that very area that my imagination kind of had played in my own head. So I have no explanation for that. People could say it's a coincidence, but I'm telling you, it's not. I can't explain that. I
Yeah.
cannot explain that. And it was verified by her. And I think she said her name was Chapa or Japa. I don't know if you guys can remember what we were talking about.
I
She says
can't
this
remember.
entity's name was Japa, and basically corroborated down to the detail of the hair and the stick and the bent back that I had seen in my mind's eye.
So,
I call it
do
what
you
you want, I
guys
don't
think
know.
that the entity that left a mark on Tony's car could be a guardian spirit?
No, because what Tony was saying was that see, Tony being a spiritual elder as well, and also like a very respected practitioner in the Bali area, he was saying that when I don't get scared, I'm not scared at all.
Ah, yes,
But
he
when
did
I
say that.
went there, I felt very eerie, and I felt that we needed to get out of there. And he said that whatever spirit had left that mark was not a positive entity. It was
Okay.
negative. So it wasn't the japa or that and the entity that had been seen. Did you feel or see anything, Sonia? KK?
I did not see, I didn't have the image of this
Yeah.
older woman. I didn't see the orbs up in the trees. But what I did see in all of that swirling incense, there were so many images. I might have captured one or two, which
Yeah,
I will send, which I will send over, and we could possibly have a look at as
for
well.
sure.
Images of the incense smoke.
Yes, there were images caught, and there was one with Tony in his quiet prayer meditation, and just behind him, swirling ball of incense smoke. But the form it took on
Yes, yes.
was
Because beside the single joystick that we each have one, Tony actually has a, how you call that,
Like a
a
bunch.
bowl. He got a bowl
Oh, a
where
bowl. Yeah,
he,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, he burns certain incense. The incense make a lot of peculiar shape emitted from that bowl itself. And to corroborate what Sonia said, I didn't have any image, but the visually when I look at the smoke from the incense, I saw faces,
Oh, really?
faces
and
forming on the. But these faces
yeah.
are not scary faces. They could be like the guardian that they know that we are here. They they know that we were not here to mess around or whatever. They are like sort of welcoming. I don't feel any
No
malicious.
malice, and
Yeah,
yeah, right.
that's what I saw.
Well, I came
So
and destroyed the toilet, so I don't know what they
yeah,
what they thought
I
about
think
that.
that's what.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's why
I'm looking for
Yeah.
the picture right now, and I'm going to send it to you.
So this is the neglected resort we have at Nagara. Uh, then on the fourth night, we went to this place. Let me get.
Ah,
This is abandoned wooden factory, just about 10 minutes
where
walk
they
from
have
Oh yes.
wood carvings, where they
wood
made
carvings.
produced wood carvings. This place has been abandoned for a while and has a bit of a history and backstory from our own experiences 2 years ago.
Yes, very much so.
Then whole banana tree. I won't say plantation, just wild growth of banana trees.
No,
And
not
with all
not
the scary tales of
these are
banana
planted.
trees is
This
all planted.
particular area, these are all planted, and the locals. This plantation has been there from before, and the locals would go inside, harvest the ripe bananas. But what was interesting about us going to this area
Mm-hmm.
before we went to the wood carving factory, there's another structure in front, one that we went
Which
into as well.
is it the house that y'all mentioned that y'all never been
Yeah.
into?
Yes, but
Yes,
we
that's
went
correct.
in
It's
because
that
on the
one.
side there was a door and that we went in.
Oh,
And
okay,
Joe,
okay.
you had a story in there about people once they enter there they go missing.
Yeah, so the main story of that area was that what the owner of the hotel that we were staying was told was that there was a man that had gone into that area to search for something or to look for something, right? And that he never returned. And so when the villagers sent like a priest or a Balian to find out, what they said was that the person's actually still there, but he had just entered into another world, the world of the Bunyan, which is the, I know, Southeast Asian equivalent
Bunyan.
of like the elves, right? The Fae, the fairy world, and had gone there and didn't want to come out and just wanted to stay there and was saying, please don't disturb me. And so the area that we were in was reputed to be like ground zero for the Fae world. And if you notice, like when we're walking down there, we're seeing signs of life and civilization around us, but in that area itself, everything's just quiet, dead, and still. I mean, there was like a hotel less than 50 meters to our left, right? But where we were was such thick jungle, and I tell you what, we got turned around and we got confused about our location more than once, right?
It was about
Yeah.
four
And I don't,
times.
yeah, very odd again that area. I know, KK. You mentioned about coming out in a certain area and then coming
Yeah.
back.
I Let me share this exact position that we keep going back to. This exact position. We came back here 3 times, and we came from different direction. It's like I was telling Joe, um, they, like uh, the Chinese say that 鬼遮眼 they will cover your eyes so that you're lost. But in this case, they want you to get out of there. They're showing you the light. They're showing you the path
The
to
way out.
the way out. Please go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my
This,
feeling.
Which is
yeah.
interesting, right?
So
They don't want to trap us. They want us just to
yes,
bugger off.
Yeah. Then the whole night the dogs are barking.
Yeah.
So this is
Who's the
half
good-looking
walking.
guy on the right hand? Oh, that's me. Sure.
Dogs are just barking.
we faced something quite similar the last time. So it's what is interesting to note is it's not our first time in this location. Um, but we've had to check on these places because progress progress in Bali.
Mm.
The other
Encroaching.
location I wanted to bring you guys, it was completely demolished. Cannot go anymore. So with this particular one, thankfully it's still there. And when I went to Recce and have a look at the place, I didn't go beyond. That as long as it was there, I knew we would find our way. But we were led around at least 4 times. The last time we were there, something interesting had happened to me. But we're going to have to find out when the other footage comes out.
When
Ah,
JDC finally
the
cuts stuff.
next World Cup. We'll come
Next
out
World Cup.
week.
Next World Cup. I promise.
But
it's coming,
something similar happened again in that spot, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a very active area, and you know, it's funny when you go in there. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel creeped out. I feel like I'm somewhere else, if that makes sense. You know, I don't go in there like, you know, that Pasar, that thing, you know, where it's a little bit eerie. That thing, I don't find it eerie there. I just feel like I'm coming into a territory that's not usually mine, and it feels like I'm trespassing in that area.
Yeah.
It's like otherworldly almost. It's
Yeah,
like another
it very much
realm
feels like that.
almost.
So, if like from my limited knowledge of the Bunyan law, it's like if you are the right person, they will not entice, they just welcome you into their world and you cannot go out. That means you'll stay in their plane of existence, right? So if we are not the chosen one, like the guy that the hotel manager told you,
Yeah.
that means we are not welcome to be there. So that's why they keep showing us that path to get out of the place.
No, but I think for me it was slightly different. I did not feel like I was very lost there. I feel very at home there, actually. Like I know my way around, right? Like you saw that I had no trouble finding my way in and out and around that place. But it always leads me to one particular spot. JDC knows
Nope.
that.
Yeah, which is linked to the
Answer is no.
video.
Oh,
What happened
Nope.
to JDC?
I'm here. I'm back. I thought something happened to you guys. I'm back, but yeah.
So, for more abandoned wooden factory story, maybe the previous trip will be a more appropriate.
Yeah.
Well, offer a little bit more insight.
Yes.
Into that
So
area.
now
and
we
our
can
kind of
proceed to
investigation.
the main event.
In Denpasar. Yeah.
This video I highlight a lot of the banging of door. So listen
No,
carefully.
somebody
Actually
closed
increase the
door.
audio.
Just now somebody closed. Oh, footstep. I don't hear. I hear the closed door.
This was the first floor that we had explored.
Sonia.
On first floor already heard footsteps, already heard door slamming.
See,
Voices,
so right at the
voices.
end of that corridor where you have the stairs, and because I was the closest one to the stairs, I could hear marbles come tumbling,
really?
rolling down of those stairs.
Like tick, 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 tick. Like, very serious. Oh, that gave me the
And I
chills.
also heard footsteps and
Whispering.
yes, voices.
And what most people don't know is that where we're going into, all the banging sounds led us to that point. Once we reached that point, it was almost like the activity kind of like stopped, and then suddenly we were already there.
If you want to do the right thing, it's better not to have the lights. So the switch off? Just the lights. Okay. So.
There's no sound to the video.
I softened.
I think the audience will probably be able to hear it, probably not us.
This is up on the
It's not a
third floor.
Yeah, but I don't think people appreciate, right? I don't think they appreciate how creepy, abandoned, and kind of like just weird the hotel looked like at night when we were there. I think when you look at it, you go, oh, that just looks like a bit of a dirty area, right? But I'm telling you, that hotel was one of the few places in Bali that legitimately gave me the creeps.
So this place, it was posted online, right? How do you all get to know about this?
Tony,
Tony?
Tony was the one that told us about this area and this place. And he says, yeah, there's
I
this
know
place here that we need to come. And in fact, I think from the beginning we were like, oh, you know what, it's too far away. It's probably just like a, no, that's a hotel. Like, you know, there are probably more interesting things to see in Bali than this all abandoned hotel right in the middle of the city.
Pageant,
But I'm glad that we came there.
Yeah.
bodybuilding.
this one I know about from Chichi actually, because
Oh, really?
unfortunately he couldn't come to the trip, but he was
Oh,
doing a lot of reading up behind the scenes, and
Mm.
he was feeding me with information as well as backstories, because sometimes when you're on the ground, you don't have that the time. Really,
yes.
you're
Correct.
on the ground.
Yeah.
You don't have the time to. So because he knew what it was that I was going to go do and stuff, he had already told me about this place, like the potential places and some of the history
Right.
and all of that. But what is interesting is just 2 weeks prior to our exploration of that place, there were people who were in there, who were filming, but nothing quite prepares you until you are there.
Yeah.
Right? It was crazy. Every single floor had its own experience. The amount of activity. I've never experienced so much activity in one place. Never. In all my urbexing, I've had experiences in different places, but the amount of it, the quantity of it in one location, never like this.
And I don't think
And
people were appreciating that, right? You're right. It's there's so much of stuff happening in one spot. I don't know about you, Sonia and KK. I kept hearing voices. I kept hearing footsteps. I at one point, and also the same as Tony, we thought that the police had arrived. We thought there was someone coming up the stairs, and they would have come and tell us, guys, you're trespassing. You're going to go
yes,
to
please
jail now.
leave.
So I was like a little bit worried. I was like, oh God, I can't. I'm not a jail person. I can't survive in a jail. I can work there, but I can't survive in a jail. Why am I here? Ugh. And I was like looking in the back, going, it's gonna happen any minute now. So we're just gonna get ready. No one came out
And
So
at all.
interestingly, when because we went floor by floor
floor.
into the different rooms, and how on the first floor at the end of that corridor, the sound of marbles coming down the stairs, voices, footsteps. Then we went up onto that second floor with the doors banging shut. And mind you, it wasn't a windy place. And many of these rooms, you can see that the windows are shut. So okay, so we could debate what could
Speaking of
possibly
Yeah.
door
be.
shutting, let's show the one that Joe shared.
Guys, see
Yeah.
the door shut.
It
You
was
guys
me.
see that, guys? Tony, the door closed by
This door
itself.
slammed shut.
We don't do this kind of shutting. It's like stuttering. So the monk go and open.
Yeah.
I mean,
Could you show that again? Because I think people
yeah.
could potentially miss that.
Yeah. Let me get...
Have a look. Bang. It's closed. Now, disclosure, guys. There is a window inside, and that window is open, right? Now, this is
Is
where
it?
there's a window inside. I went kind
There's no
of peek
wind.
in. The problem with this, guys, is that, again, there's a window. However, the issue with it is that it felt like the closing of the doors was leading us somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a door that kind of shut. There was a banging. Would go towards that, and then nothing would happen behind us in terms of the door closing, right? And then it'll move. It's almost like it leads us somewhere, and eventually it led us to that room upstairs, right? And again, like if you were really uber skeptical, you would say, long corridor, right? Windows open at various points of that. Wind tunnel, pressure changes can cause the doors to open and close. But look, being there on the ground, it felt more than that. It certainly felt more than just wind.
Okay, if you're talking about the tunnel of the wind flow and all
Yeah.
this, we have multiple rooms.
Yes.
If we have multiple windows open, wouldn't a gush of wind close multiple doors?
But potentially.
The door doesn't close like all slammed together. It closes one by one, like your daughter who was angry with you. You walk past, she just slapped the door.
That never
That kind of
happens.
feeling.
All the time.
The slamming of door is not the wind. It's like a petulant kid or somebody who's not happy that you are there. They're slapping the door.
Very intentional.
Yes.
Yeah, it felt very. Correct, Sonia. It felt like, like a knock, almost like, oh, what's that? And then we'll go there, and then just further on there'll be another knock. We'll go to, and it's somewhere like, way behind another floor. You hear a bang, and like, what the fuck was that? And then you almost follow, and it all ended us up in that altar room
Yes.
on the second floor, if I'm not wrong.
Talking about the altar room, when we were at the first floor, I vividly remember that Tony was talking to the Pemangku. Then they say go to the second floor. They weren't there before, right? So, but they were like, something was telling them to go to the second floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't know where the shrine was. They'd
Yeah.
been there before, but they didn't know where the shrine was.
Had they
Actually, no.
gone to the
Actually,
shrine room before?
I don't think Tony has ever been there before. He's been there when it was a hotel. Sorry, I'll take that back. He went there when it was a functioning hotel, and we say, oh, they used to hold bodybuilding competitions here. There used to be a pool here, but he'd never been there when it was abandoned. And now that green room dedicated to that goddess of the sea, that I don't think was there until after the hotel was abandoned. My understanding.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, because I was wondering the same thing. When was the shrine installed? Was it during the workings of the hotel while it was still working, or was it only after? Did something happen at the hotel that would cause someone to erect a shrine in appeasement? But I can't find anything online.
No, there's nothing online. I like you, I've also done my search, but my understanding was like when we were there, Tony was saying we're doing these offerings to get the protection to be able to move around the hotel freely. And what he was saying was like, okay, he's done the ritual, he's done the stuff where he's prayed and he's done the mantras. He says, okay, we're okay to move around, but then he says, not for very long.
Yeah.
This protection won't last. We're going to go through it a little bit. When it's time to leave. And Tony's never done that before. Tony usually goes, oh, don't worry, I'm here. Just go over here. This is the first time I think it's the first time I've seen Tony nervous. Would you really say like KK and like KK in this trip, first time you've seen Tony nervous? Sonia, in the 2 trips that we've done with Tony, have you ever seen him nervous?
No, I've not.
Even
So
this freaking
I was-
haunted room,
I
he's never
was-
nervous.
I was quite taken by surprise. But after he said what he said, we continued with our exploration. We went up to the 3rd floor. And the 3rd floor at first was deathly silent. There was nothing happening up on the 3rd floor. And I had to go and open my mouth and say, this is so different. There's nothing happening up here. And the minute I finished that sentence, boom, boom, boom. They had to prove me wrong.
Okay, let me share this video that Sonia has seen. Show me. We have seen doors closing. It could be the wind, but door opening like this. How do we explain?
Changes in air
If a
pressure.
gust If a gust of wind were to have blown that, it would have opened
It's
completely.
open all the way, right? It's like slowly, slowly. It's like you can still hear like at the back doors are slamming.
Yeah, and this was all around me, the close vicinity, and all of you were way off on the other end of the corridor, see? And there was so much happening. There were footsteps coming down from this corridor as well.
Can still hear the slamming. So they are trying to prove like Sonia was taunting them, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I had to go
Yeah.
and open my mouth, right?
You see? You see?
Because there was nothing happening up on the third floor until I said what I said, and that's exactly when it began.
Then I remember when we want to go back to second level, you was very strictly tell us no, get out of second floor.
It's
Don't
time to
go back
get
second
out.
floor.
All the signs were there. We were done. Our Tony had our Bali and Tony had already told us, I can only protect you for so long. We were being ushered out at that point.
Yeah, and there was a real sense of something happening. Now, when we went down to the first floor, the ground floor, and I won't talk much about it here. I will go and debrief this with Kim in the next lights out episode. However, this is probably the first, I would say, legit. I have no like. Okay, we talked about light. I had no explanation, but people can just look at the video that KK Heng posted about that market and say, hey, it's a car light and everything. Understandable. Okay, what happened to me at the Nikki Hotel? I've not had an experience like that. It was something that it didn't scare me, but I have no explanation for it, and it also happened to KK, but we will talk about that later in a lights out episode because I really want to break it down with Kim because he was not there until the very end, and I think he wants to kind of like interview me with that. So look, also there'll be a piece of footage that I will show, and this footage captured what I experienced, and also what KK experienced.
Okay. Before
No
let's-
explanation for it.
Before
Zero.
I end this part with a funny story, let me share two photographs that Tony shared with us.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where he shot this. One of the room, I think. Then, can you see like a baby face? I actually circle the face out. Then beside the baby face, right, I do notice there are other faces at the corner. This is a baby face. There are multiple faces at the bottom. So this could be pareidolia or whatever, but
Paradolia,
yeah,
how
if
we are
That's where I was
innately,
going.
but
instinctively
if
look for faces in things.
Tony can sense things lah. So I don't know whether I think if he's sensing, then he also shared with us. Okay, this is going up to I can't remember level 1 or level 2 or whatever. So there are windows showing reflection of the top floor. So he managed to see this white apparition. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the two shots that he shared with us after when we were in the car on the way back to Ubud.
That he had captured on his phone, right, as he had walked through the hotel.
Could be light and whatever lah, but if he said something, I would incline to believe him. You know. Yeah. So okay, so we were at the altar. We were separate out. Joe and Sonia and Shias was at near the door. Me and Shimin and Adi is at near the wall, more inside of the room. So during the prayers, we turn off all the light. Then we need to. They gave us some kind of leaves and flowers or like moss, a bit like a moss or something. So Adi say, take a bite. So we were tense lah. We don't know what to expect. I keep hearing the doors are slamming through the hotel. That okay, take a bite. So I take a whole bunch. I bite off my mouth. For the whole 15 minutes we were there, getting the protection until the point that I think was the Pemangku start to take the holy water and kind of sprinkle us to us. Then at this point, the leaves was like tickling my lower lips, but I don't dare to take it out. So, but Shimi was like asking Adi, when can we take out from our mouth? Then Adi was like bewildered. Oh, sorry. I was supposed to say take a beat, not take a bite.
You just take a bit. You meant just to hold
Take
it.
a beat to just put your
Okay,
put your I think should be put totally into their mouth.
So Adi
that's
doesn't speak a lot. Doesn't speak a lot of English. He speaks
Yeah.
mainly a bit of Bahasa
that-
Indonesia and Balinese. So.
But that's the real fun of it, you see. We have a bit of the funny part when we are so tense in the outer room. Yeah.
So, yeah, he couldn't speak a lot of English. So you know what? I would have given anything to have seen you guys eating that. Unfortunately, you only told us afterwards, and I had no opportunity to experience you guys eating flower petals.
Thank goodness it was in total darkness.
Bloody hell. And something else happened in that room, though, right? Didn't you say that the door opened?
Oh,
Yeah, it was me. It was me because I was seated closer to the
door.
door, and I was
Yeah.
kind of guarding the door, and I had closed it shut. With the doorknob and everything, I had closed it, and yet it swung open, and I had to stand up and go close it again.
my goodness.
Bloody hell. That Hotel Nikki was so
And
weird.
this is with all of us inside the room already.
Yeah.
Yeah. And interesting, like enough, right? Like when you look at stuff like that, there was, even though the window was open in the room, there was no airflow. There was no airflow.
It was
can
getting
see all the
really
incense.
stuffy in there.
Yeah, it was
And
very
the
very
incense
stuffy
was
in there.
billowing around in the room. There was no this. Yeah, you can see if there's wind because of all that smoke, but no, it was very still.
And the location of the outer room is dead in the middle of the whole stretch. Right?
Yes.
So usually if like there's an outer room in a hotel, usually they will put it like out of place, hide in one corner, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is why it led me to question when was this altar
Yeah.
installed? When did this take place and why? So many questions.
It'll be interesting to know. And
So freaking odd.
it is the goddess of the southern seas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Niru Rorokidol. I know
Is
I
that how
posted it on
it's-
Facebook. I just can't remember.
Let me see.
What?
I written it down on my rundown. No, I didn't. I just put goddess of the southern seas.
Yeah, so it is. I'm going on our. I've done a little bit of a little write up on that. I think before, it is called. Jesus, there's a lot of stuff in our thing. Oh no, I must have posted it on my website. I am so sorry. Let me see if I can find it. It's a like again. It's not in our language, so I don't know how to pronounce it. But it is the goddess of the sea, but
Southern
also
of the Southern Ocean.
Southern Ocean, but also the goddess of people who are like what you may call it, they lost causes and stuff like that. People who have no something's happened to them and they've lost all hope. This is the goddess that they would
My
pray to,
goodness.
and it's Nyai Rorokidul is the name of the Nyai Rorokidul, mythical queen of the South.
Nyai Lara Kidul.
Yeah, that's
So
what I said.
you were mentioning that
Not really.
they are the goddess to guide those people who lost hope.
Yeah. And if I'm not wrong, there's a connection between this goddess and suicides in the sea and people passing away by the sea. I think there's a connection.
But this the roots of and the origin of this one is actually more Javanese, and it's
Yes.
strange. It's strange that it exists in a very predominantly Hindu Bali. To have So
Because in Java,
that's
it must have,
interesting.
a lot of Java was Hindu, and part of the Majapahit Empire. So I think and and then you still see Hindu temples in Java, especially kind of like Eastern Java, right? So I think that this continuation and cross pollination of cultural knowledge, of spiritual knowledge that goes all the way from Java into Bali. Yeah, but a
So
very interesting. It
the legend of
lives
her
on.
begins from the 15th century.
Wow,
So
that's
it seems like there's a history of something happening to people who live or work in this hotel. Then they have to erect this altar with this particular goddess to guide them. Or,
yes, yes. But what he was saying was like, it appears in different places in Bali, and it doesn't have to be near the sea because we're in Denpasar.
yeah, yeah, we
There is
got.
no there's no ocean like relatively nearby. So I was like confused. Why are they praying to the goddess of the south of the sea when it's the land?
Maybe
It
because
doesn't make
Bali's an
sense to me.
island, it's
Yeah,
surrounded by water.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, very interesting. One of the most interesting experiences have been in
Yeah.
Nikki
So
Nikki
as
Hotel.
we near to the end of the show, maybe we can each give impression of how we say the trip or the whole experience. I mean, maybe I'll start first because I'm the real participant.
That's right.
Yeah. So um, I didn't really look when you look through the itinerary. It wasn't really tell you what you do on the first day, second day.
That's right.
I also didn't expect to really follow. So when we before we landed in Bali, Joe already tell us, "Oh, be expecting something out of the blue on the first day." So uh, and to be scared or something lah. I think that was the message
Yeah.
conveyed to us. But a lot of things pops up. Even the last day to Nikki, we were supposed to go to across this lake to this temple.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the high priest of that temple, died on that day or the day before.
Uh, yeah. The
Oh,
day
So
before.
Trunyan. This
yeah,
was to
Yeah.
Trunyan.
so if we're going to Trunyan, we're not going to Hotel Nikki. So a lot of a lot of
Coincidences and
yeah,
Yeah.
and we there's also a few hiccups along the way. Like we're supposed to go this place, and then something happened. We didn't go, and all. But for people who are interested in this tour in the future, keep an open mind. Uh, as you will be looking at a lot of things, not just duck tour, not the duck, not the baby, the duck tourism part, but the experience the culture, and we also had a lot of fun eating, a lot of shopping,
Yes.
yeah, a lot of stuck in traffic jam, but
oh boy.
stay 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 chilled lah. Yeah, that's yeah. Come with an open mind. Enjoy the company. Yeah, that's from me.
Definitely.
Sonia.
Sonia, any thoughts?
Oh yes. So the experience of the dark tour, yes, there are many different components to it, but having an open mind also means understanding that there are mystical, spiritual elements to this tour. You get a behind the scenes immersive experience, right? You get to urbex a little bit. Many of these abandoned places harbor wandering spirits, and and that is the reason why we had so many different elements of what to experience. It wasn't just about coming into contact or searching, or because we're not paranormal investigators, but we want to feel, we seek these experiences out in the safety of the group. We have a Balian with us to keep us safe. So if people want to experience these things, please come on the next one. We have many more coming up. It's not just Bali.
Bali.
I'm already building up towards something else.
Wow.
So even when we visited the Goa Gajah and how mystical it is, and people used it was a place where the kings would bathe in holy water holy spring water and go meditate in a cave, because the place has, how do I say this, the feels of the place, the energy that is apparent in the place. People would spend time meditating there. So it's not just about the darkness of it, but why Bali? Because it's mystical, it's spiritual. It's where a lot of people go, not necessarily in search of what we are searching or what we are seeking, but you get to come and experience that with us.
Joe?
Bali has shown me the importance of a good roll of toilet paper and a comfortable toilet. I will, that's my new thing now. Wherever I go, a good roll of toilet paper, because you never know when you're gonna need it. But all jokes aside, I seem to have this kind of experience where every time I go to Bali, especially when it's to do with a paranormal tour, or whether we're meeting friends and we're going there with the paranormal in mind, I seem to be experiencing something. So for me, it almost feels like I think there's a strong connection to Bali and the spiritual side of Bali with me. But in terms of the tour, I think that it has shown me that no plan survives a dark tour in Bali, and that you have to be open to change and moving with change, because that's the very nature of it, right? The paranormal, the mystical, the unseen part of Bali, it doesn't happen on command. You can't say, let's go to this place and we're going to have something happen to you. No, it can
There are no
happen, it may not happen.
guarantees,
No
yeah.
guarantee. And I think if we didn't go with the flow, we probably wouldn't have ended up in somewhere like Hotel Nikki. So for
Yes.
those who are coming, I want to echo what KK was saying. You just have to go with it. You just have to go with it, and that's deliberate why we did not specifically put out a detailed, strict itinerary, because it can't go that way. We'll give you a bit of a general understanding of what's happened. So if you do come to this tour and you expect something polished, like today, we are going to go and see craftsmen. Tomorrow, we are going to. It's not going to happen like that. You're going to come here and you're going to experience Bali time, which means things will happen when it does.
Yeah. Chill and enjoy the company lah. If you
Yes.
don't, if you are like, uh, you are like so adamant that you have to experience every single thing on your checklist, then maybe you can join Chan Brothers and whatever. Yeah, this is not the tour.
Yeah. You can't be rigid. You have to be
Yeah, I'm definitely
flexible.
looking forward to the next one. Yeah, so we are at the end of the show. Maybe share what is coming up for each and every one of us. Sonia,
Oh,
you are going
I've
for a
got,
climb soon, right?
yes, and in fact, you're coming on one
Yeah, yeah.
as
Beside
well.
that, you're going to Yogyakarta.
Jogja,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's to climb Gunung Merbabu. So
Mm.
it's a dormant volcano, but these things you can never really tell. So let's see what stories I come back with
Mm.
from there.
Yeah.
Dormant.
Miss Gigi.
Mystical,
Yeah.
and then
Joe.
there are a couple more trips as well. So I'll
So
be in
coincidentally,
Japan. Oh,
I'm also
yes.
climbing. I'm
Oh,
also climbing. I'll be climbing into my shower and then my bed very
Be climbing
shortly.
to bed.
I'm a very boring
Oh,
guy. I have nothing I have nothing exciting planned, man. I think we have a few more interviews coming up for Lights Out. And obviously, one thing that's very big on the team is us preparing for the next tour. And the Bali one is definitely going to go ahead again, but then other countries as well. So we just want to ask everyone to stay tuned. And I will do my
yes,
very
please.
best to get the video of videos out there as soon as I can as well.
and for
I forgot
me,
to. Sorry,
Yeah.
KK, I just wanted
yeah.
to quickly interject that I'll be climbing Mount Fuji, but
Wow.
some
When?
yes, immediately a few days after Gunung Merbabu. So I've got consecutive trips planned. It's going to be a very
Wow.
busy
Uh,
time. But
uh,
what I wanted to share is, have you heard of the suicide forest in Japan?
yes,
Aokigahara.
Aokigahara. Yeah,
That's
Aokigahara. You're going there?
uh-huh. So something to look forward to.
Yes, please share with us on this platform. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, I
and
will.
similar for me.
Okay, Gareth. What
Doing
are your
more.
plans, KK?
Yeah,
Share.
doing more. Uh, After dark with KK.
Mm.
I already have a few. Yeah. So in any time when Joe and Kim are like busy for the recording, I can always interject in.
Yeah. See,
Then
KK is the guy, right? That when a teacher gives the assignment, he completes it on the day itself. And like, if there was an exam, I want to make sure I sit either next to KK or
yeah,
behind him so I can copy his work.
I won't get full marks, but I will make you pass lah.
Yeah, that's all I
Yeah.
want. I just want to pass
So the
and not
Cikgu and
study.
me will watch the two of you.
Uh, we put
Don't
Kim
worry,
in front. We
we'll
put
create
Kim
a
in front
distraction.
with his shenanigans.
Ah,
Uh,
yes,
To
that takes the
distract,
heat.
isn't it?
okay. Before we go, just want to share this from Rach. She sent all of us a sage ointment. Is it, we call it.
Yes,
Yeah,
ointment. Yeah,
from pure sage extract. Yeah,
Smells great.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you so much.
yeah. Thanks,
Put a
Rach.
bit
Yeah,
here. Put a bit
I
here.
think Joe will interview with Rach very soon.
Very
So watch
shortly.
out
Yeah.
on
Looking
Lights
forward
Out.
to that.
Okay, without further ado, let's say good night to everybody. And with my line, don't be square, get out there.
Sonia. This gets the giggles out of nowhere.
Okay, the end.